Hey everybody, Buzzsaw Gaming here, hanging out with my retro gaming buddy, Mr. Buzzsaw. In the background, the original Super Mario Brothers. It's a Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt combo cartridge. Anyways, here to bring you my original Nintendo system and collection. Oh man, this system, I mean, where do I begin? First of all, this is on loan from myself. I typically keep this at my parents' house, but I was visiting this weekend, so I brought it here. Anyways, brought it here, hooked it up for the first time, never done that before. Thought I would share with you some experiences with the original Nintendo. Anyways, this is my original Nintendo. This is the original one that I got back in, I don't know the year, maybe 87, 88, something like that. I'm not quite sure exactly. My memory's a little bit fuzzy back then, but it's around that time. There are those two great controllers right there. There's the NES Advantage, which is absolutely awesome. Nice and yellowed over there. The gray zapper that came with it. Now I know this is before the orange zapper came out, so whenever that came out, I remember that being after I got my original Nintendo. And over here is my childhood Nintendo collection. Not a lot of games. It's around, I believe, 25 games, so not a ton of games. Anyways, about this system, I mean, this has to be one of the most nostalgic systems for me. I mean, this was my second video game console growing up. My first was the Color Computer 2, which was absolutely awesome. I loved it. I loved the Color Computer 2. I was playing Color Baseball, Canyon Climber, Temple of Rom. I mean, these kind of games were actually really, really cool on Color Computer 2. I absolutely loved it. But once the Nintendo came out, I mean, this blew it away. I mean, this became, you know, ultimately one of the best consoles of all time. I mean, depending on what day of the week you ask me, it's either my #1 or #2 favorite console of all time. Absolutely love it. Had such a great time with it. Oh, Mr. Buzzsaw on the prowl. Anyways, yeah, I mean, back in the day, I mean, I got this actually a long time ago when I was a kid at Kmart. So, I mean, growing up, my mom and grandmother, we would go to Kmart. So pretty much every weekend, every Friday, I forgot what day it was that we'd go, but I grew up in a house that didn't have air conditioning. And that was pretty common back then, actually, in the 80s. It's nothing unusual. And yeah, we didn't have air conditioning, we couldn't afford it. And so the alternative was to go to Kmart, where they had lots of air conditioning. So we would spend hours and hours meandering around Kmart, around the different aisles, what's going on. And of course I was drawn to the video games aisle. So that's what I did. I mean, I went there and I was just dreaming about the original Nintendo. All of my friends were starting to get these original Nintendos, and so yeah, I was keen to get one on my own. Didn't have money to buy one. I didn't have a job. I was very small, but I did have a tiny allowance. And when I say tiny, I mean tiny. I got something like $5 a month or $5 a week. I mean, I just don't remember. It was a very small number, and you know, for doing things around the house. And basically what happened is I ended up putting this on layaway. And for those that don't know what layaway, basically back then, I guess before credit cards were big and things like that, if you wanted to buy something and you couldn't afford it, you took it to the layaway department of the department store, and they would literally just hold it for you and have a little account for you, and would you know, tally up the number as you slowly added to it until you could actually buy it. So that's what happened with this. I think it was maybe $150, you know, something like that. I don't remember the exact price of the Nintendo. I got the action set that came with the zapper, the controller, and it came with the Mario Duck Hunt game. So that's what it came with, and I remember putting it on layaway in Kmart when I was very small. And every time we went to Kmart to, you know, avoid the heat in the house, I would put $5 towards it. $5, $5, $5, until eventually I could buy it, and I took it home. So I'm not sure how long that took, but months and months and months of waiting, basically. And I finally got it, and I hooked it up to my TV in my room. I had an old, 1970s wood grain, 19-inch, TV. It was a piece of junk. But I remember hooking up my Nintendo and just being floored by it, just absolutely loving it. Just was amazed by the graphics. I mean, these graphics were just unbelievable at the time. Coming off of Color Computer 2, I mean, which basically looked like an Atari 2600. I mean, this was like amazing. I was like, wow, it looks like an actual human. Not really, right? But at the time, it did. And so, yeah. So anyways, this is my childhood collection here. You can see Mr. Buzzsaw exploring the whole collection right there. Later, I did get the NES Advantage, which was awesome. I mean, that was really popular back then. It's a lot of fun, you know, really cool. Absolutely loved it. And the Zapper, I mean, it was really cool to play Duck Hunt. I mean, that was awesome. Absolutely awesome as well. And my original system, I mean, it plays great. I mean, I hear people complain about how their systems don't work, especially these, you know, older systems right here. But I've never had any issue with it. I mean, yeah, sometimes you put a card in, it doesn't play, things like that. But for the most part, it's really good and it's reliable. And this is all my original system right here. Oh, Mr. Buzzsaw jumping off and taking off. Anyways, and right here, this little roll-up station right here, a little holder for Nintendos. I remember getting this on a birthday from my aunt. I got this, I don't know, maybe a year or two after I got my Nintendo, and it's really cool. It holds a bunch of games. It closes up as well, so it's, you know, original from that time period as well. So I really like it. Now, as far as my games, I mean, well, it's a little bit backwards right here, but you can kind of take a look at some of my games. You know, Zelda and Link, you know, right at the front were very important to me. You know, Super Mario Duck Hunt Combo, which is being played right now. You know, Castlevania 3, Excite Bike, Legendary Wings, Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, Tecmo Bowl, Legendary Wings, Top Players Tennis, Super C, Skate or Die. Skate or Die was just massive back then. I mean, I remember that. Oh my gosh. And these games in general, oh my gosh, played so much. Metroid, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, oh my gosh. Super Off-Road, I love that game. The original Metal Gear, Tetris, Wall Street Kid, TNC Surf Design, Guerrilla War, Tecmo World Wrestling, Kings of the Beach, Blaster Master, Jackal. I mean, just to kind of give you an idea of what my original Nintendo collection is like. You know, some of the, you know, the biggest games at the time. So, I mean, this was just awesome. And back then, I mean, you didn't have a lot of games. I mean, this is, I mean, this collection took me years and years and years and years and years to get to this size. You know, most people back then had, you know, a couple games, really, just 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 games. And it was really unusual for anyone to have any more than that. So, yeah, I mean, of these games, I mean, I've played so much of all of them, really. I mean, the original Zelda and Link, I mean, those are my favorites. Blaster Master, I mean, such a cool game. Excite Bike, I mean, I loved all of those right there. You know, the original Super Mario, I played so much. That was my first game, of course. It came with the system. Tecmo Bowl, I mean, still to my, you know, my opinion, the best football game ever made. Metroid, I mean, I love Metroid, the original Metroid. That was just awesome. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, I mean, oh, I just imagine seeing just the giant characters on screen. It was huge. It was absolutely massive. You know, absolutely massive. And then Super Off-Road was so much fun because I was in the arcades and that was just fun. Oh, Mr. Buzzsaw came back for a bit. It was awesome. Wall Street Kid. I mean, that's a cool one too because you kind of pretend you're an adult actually in that game. You're giving us some money and you have to basically, I don't know, double your money. I don't remember. And if you do, you'll win more. And then you basically have to have to make money at the same time to keep your girlfriend happy. So it's kind of an adult game, I guess you could say. But anyways, just sharing you my original, childhood NES collection with Super Mario back there in the background. And anyways, yeah, I'll probably do a couple more videos with this, maybe some top 5, something like that, of some of my games. I really enjoyed this system so much, and yeah, it's with me right now for a bit of time. So anyways, Buzzsaw Gaming signing out, and Mr. Buzzsaw right over there hanging out. Anyways, have a wonderful day.